ABC Listen. Podcasts, radio, news, music, and more.
I was quoted in an interview just about not wanting Beijing to be a reason that I feel fear going into Cortina. Heading into this Olympics, there are certainly things that scare me. I mean, there's definitely a fear of disappointment. I said it. There, I said it.
For 3 years, 11 months and 2 weeks of every Olympic cycle, Mikaela Shiffrin is the best slalom skier in the world. But for the last 2 Winter Games, she hasn't been able to get it done. The American has won over 100 World Cup events, but when she pulls on the Olympic rings and the whole world is watching, she kind of gets the yips. Plus, an Australian medal chance goes begging in the monobob as Bree Walker misses out. And what's it like to watch your daughter in her debut Olympic Games? We find out. I'm Poppy Penny and this is ABC Sport Daily. Matt Futterman is a senior sport writer with The Athletic and is in Milano-Cortina covering these games. Matt, I think to understand the significance of Mikaela Shiffrin's last 2 Olympic performances, you have to first understand her career outside of the Olympic arena. Can you give us a bit of a rundown as to who this athlete is?
Yeah, she's the best skier ever at this point. She's the GOAT. No one has won more World Cup titles than Mikaela Shiffrin.
Here we go. Shiffrin looking to maintain her unbeaten track record so far this season. Oh, look at this from Shiffrin. It's like poetry in motion. No nerves, perfect technique. Mikaela Shiffrin now just needs to focus to the line, and it is 4 out of 4. This lady is unstoppable.
She's won 108 races, which is absolutely unheard of. She's been terrific since she first burst on the scene when she was about 16 years old. She won the gold medal in slalom when she was 18 years old. 4 years later, she won the gold medal in giant slalom. So she's great. Nobody better, man or woman. But she struggles. The Olympics have become a thing for her.
There are so many eyes on the event. And I did experience a very dark side of that level of viewership because of Beijing.
It started 4 years ago in Beijing, where she crashed 3 times in 6 races. The other 3 races wasn't particularly competitive, and now it's continued in 2 races, two of her worst performances of the season.
So for 3 years, 11 months and 2 weeks out of every 4-year cycle, she is the best of the best. But over the last sort of 2 Olympic cycles, that hasn't been the case. What happens to her when she pulls on a Team USA kit emblazoned with the Olympic rings?
She's someone who really feels her feelings a lot. She's not one of these athletes who just gets into a zone and doesn't feel the pressure of expectations or anything like that. She really feels all those things. And I think she's just more comfortable in the World Cup circuit, where she kind of likes, I think, a little bit being under the radar in America. And then she's not under the radar at all when the Olympics come. The television coverage is all about her. A lot of it is about her. She's on magazine covers, and everybody wants to know and see her deliver. That, at least since 2022, has been a lot for her, and maybe a little too much.
She has 2 Olympic gold medals to her name already, but do you get the sense she feels as though she needs another Olympic medal? Not so much for the public recognition or the public pressure, but for her own personal legacy?
So I don't know that she's that concerned about legacy. I think she just really likes to win, or at least get on the podium, because no one can win all the time, although she comes pretty close to it in slalom. So she finished 11th in giant slalom, which is not her total specialty, but as recently as 2023, she was the best giant slalom skier in the world. She was 6th, 5th, 4th, and 3rd, so trending in the right direction. And then she has a giant slalom race in just about perfect conditions, bright sunshine, cold, hard snow. These are all things that she does well in. And she had her 2nd worst result of the season. So there's just something else going on here, that she feels differently in an Olympic event than she does in a regular World Cup event. And I guess she should, because the Olympics are a really big deal and the spotlight's on you. And it's hard even for the best to be at their best during the Olympics.
Matt, she has one more opportunity to claim a medal, the women's slalom on Wednesday night, Australian time. Can she overcome the yips?
If anybody could overcome the yips, you would think it would be her. She's won 7 out of 8 slalom races this year. The other one, she came in second by, a hair. So, I mean, she is absolutely dominant. And she is so far and away the best slalom racer. The woman who has won the last 2 races here at the Olympics, Federica Brignone, showed up only having skied 2 races all year, all season, because she had this horrible injury back in April. And she came here expecting nothing, and she said something very interesting today.
I think if I was coming here to make gold medals, I would go home with no medals. I had medals, I had World Cups, I had everything that I wanted, even more in my life. So I came here just to enjoy and try my best, and this is why I think I won.
It's a funny game that you have to play when it comes to big-time sports and the Olympics especially. You have to care, but you have to not care too much.
Matt Futterman, you get the feeling there'll be a lot of eyeballs on that event when she takes to the slopes on Wednesday night, Australian time. Thanks so much for your time.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Erin Marsicovetere is covering the Olympic Winter Games for the ABC and has travelled to just outside of Cortina for the bobsled because Australian Bree Walker was in action this morning, Australian time. Erin, Bree finished 8th in the monobob, which is probably not the result she was after, given she's ranked 2nd in the world standings. You spoke to her after the final runs today. How was she feeling?
Well, Poppy, she was pretty circumspect and pretty happy, I have to say. Bree strolled over, big smile on her face.
I haven't seen, my sister in such a long time, and just seeing everybody there and just how happy they are and excited, I can't be anything but filled with so much love and just happiness that, they're having such a great time here.
Her mum had never actually seen her compete before.
It's a flash. I just like, am I dreaming? This is just brilliant. I mean, it wasn't as loud as I expected. I could see that she was down safe, like mamas like to be, their children safe. Yeah, I was very, very pleased.
She was in contention for medals. She has won 3 gold medals this season out of 7 races, but she was thrilled to be a part of the Olympics, and that pressure maybe to have just rolled off her shoulders because it's all over and she did what she could and it didn't work out, but she was happy to have so much support around her and enjoy the whole experience.
She has another opportunity to claim a medal later this week with Chiara Rodingius. How focused now is she on the 2-woman bobsleigh?
Well, she's such a professional, Bree. As soon as she hopped out of her sled, she said to Chiara, okay, let's go on to training tomorrow.
As soon as I crossed the line, I just saw Chiara and I smiled and I said, let's get going with the 2-man, and that was me refocusing and resetting.
Look, her and Chiara aren't as highly rated in the 2-woman event. But the last Olympics they went to, they'd only raced together 3 times before. Pretty insane to then be paired up for the Olympics. So 4 years down the track, they're the best of friends. Australia also has a second women's pairing in the 2-woman bobsleigh, Sarah Blizzard and Desi Johnson as well. So 4 women to cheer for in this event, which is amazing because there are no bobsleigh tracks in Australia, as I keep reminding people. You can't do this sport here. You have to be overseas.
And once again, Blizzard, one of the great winter Olympic names at these games, and we're happy to be cheering for her in the early hours of Saturday morning Australian time. Erin, thank you so much for your time, one of the busiest people in Milan.
Thank you.
Rosie Fordham is a cross-country skier, and last week she finished 33rd in the women's 10-kilometre interval start, and along with her teammates finished 14th in the 4x7.5-kilometre relay. And I'm speaking to one very proud father in Michael Fordham. Michael, how have the last couple of weeks been watching your daughter debut in an Olympic Games?
It's nothing short of incredible. I always wanted to go to a Winter Olympics. I didn't think I'd be watching one of our children, so it's just been amazing.
Can you talk us through sort of the pride you feel seeing her line up at the starting line, with the Olympic rings wearing the Australian green and gold?
It's actually really hard to explain. You sit there not quite believing you're watching it, and then you're watching it and all you can be is proud and not just of what she is doing, but what she's done to get there and how she handles herself in what she does.
She's raced in a couple of events so far. How does she feel about how her games has gone? Is she enjoying the experience?
Yeah, she is. The Australian team is a little bit looser than some of the other competing teams in terms of what the kids can do. So they're actually allowed out. So they've been wandering around. They've actually been getting into the sort of whole buzz of the valley and doing things and seeing people. So they are actually really enjoying themselves and being a part of it. Like the kids or the young people in the Australian team, they're racing against some of their heroes because the heroes are peaking in their like early 30s, and some of these people are in their early 20s. And I can still remember Hugo Hinkfist sitting in the back of a car watching videos of Klæbo, who he's now racing against.
Us mere mortals don't really have any idea about what exactly goes into qualifying for and training for an Olympic team. Can you give us a bit of an insight into the work and sacrifices that Rosie has had to make along the way?
Well, she didn't start cross-country skiing until she was about 15. She was a runner before that, and a friend of ours took her skiing one day and she sort of got into it. And basically her, and indeed, look, everyone in that team, they're either living in Norway or they're on scholarships training in the United States at various universities. Rosie left home when she was 18. We don't see much of her, to be honest. And she trains. She trains 11 months a year at a level that I don't fully understand, to be honest. She's just constantly, she's either running, because she was running as well for the university. She's either running, cycling, gym, roller skiing, and then on snow when she can. And fortunately, she lives in Alaska, so she gets quite a bit of snow.
How does cross-country running translate into cross-country skiing? Do they translate well?
Yes, although when she started out skiing, they were sort of pushing her to give up running, and she kept it going. Kendall Kramer from the United States is one of the best cross-country runners in the United States, and she's also on the Olympic team. They were pushing it very much so that they were building up their long fitness with the running to bring into the season, so that they already had that behind them when they started skiing, from what I understand.
That is a level of overachieving that I simply cannot relate to, being good at both of those things. I have a final question for you, Michael. I saw on social media that Rosie prepares for races on race day by knitting, which is not how I would typically expect someone to get pumped up. What's that about?
She seems to have always done it. And what it does, we understand, she tells us, that it just allows her to slow down. It calms her. She focuses on that to get all the kind of hype and buzz out of her head before she goes out and races.
It's clearly done something positive because she's an Olympian now. And congratulations to you. You are the father of an Olympian. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks very much. And thanks for taking an interest in a sport that doesn't get a lot of media coverage. So thank you.
Headlines. Australian short track speed skater Brendan Corey has finished fourth in his heat of the 500 metres and will unfortunately miss the quarterfinal stage. Sometimes the pressure of an Olympic Games can get to someone and mistakes happen. Generally, you'd ski down to the bottom of the hill or run and face the music. Not Norwegian skier Atle Lee McGrath, who made an error in the slalom with a gold medal on the line. No. He threw his poles on the ground, unclicked from his skis and walked all the way to the perimeter fencing, the only thing separating him from the woods, where he sunk onto his back and lay there.
Thought that I would get some peace and quiet, which I didn't because photographers and police found me out in the woods.
Honestly, I get it. Away from Milan, and things are not going well for Australia in the T20 World Cup after an 8-wicket loss to Sri Lanka overnight. A 104-run opening stand from Mitch Marsh and Travis Head wasn't enough, with Australia bowled out for 181 and the co-host nation chasing down the target with 2 overs to spare. Australia needs some things to go right to progress to the Super 8. Firstly, they need to beat Oman in their final game of the group stage. Then they'll be hoping Ireland and Sri Lanka can both beat Zimbabwe. And the ABC understands that former Bulldog and Wests Tiger Matt Utai has been shot in Western Sydney this morning and remains in hospital in a serious condition. The 44-year-old sustained multiple gunshot wounds in the drive-by incident and was treated at the scene by paramedics. I'm Poppy Penny and this is ABC Sport Daily, produced by Ed Gooden. Thanks to the What's the Point podcast with Mikaela Shiffrin and US Ski and Snowboard for the extra audio used in this episode.
Discover more great ABC podcasts, live radio and exclusives on the ABC Listen app.